Hello everybody, coming straight at you again. Today we're doing Boba Fett. I will be going over stats, abilities, star cards, movement and some general tips and tricks. These general tips and tricks contain some obscure stuff, such as dealing double damage with Boba's melee attack. Even some of the veterans might not know this stuff, so make sure you watch till the end. If you think this video is helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe. But now, without any further ado, let's get into the video. Boba has a base health of 600, a max health regen of 150, and a health regen delay of 5 seconds. He has a health regen rate of 50 every second, meaning he will regen his maximum of 150 in 8 seconds. These are the worst health stats out of any hero, but Boba Fett more than makes up for it with his mobility. Boba has a max sprint speed of 7 meters per second and a max jump height of 2 meters. These stats seem pretty bad as well, but all the magic is in his jetpack. Boba's jetpack has 2 different flight modes. If you activate his jetpack without pressing any of the movement buttons, you use his vertical flight. Using this, you can travel straight up at a speed of 12.5 meters every second. If you do press any of his movement buttons, you enter his horizontal flight mode. In this modus, you can fly at a whopping speed of 12.5 meters every second while slowly increasing in altitude. However, his jetpack consumes fuel. With a full tank, Boba can fly for 5 seconds, meaning he can travel 62.5 meters on one tank. To refuel, you simply have to land. As soon as Boba hits the ground, he starts refueling at a rate of 8.3% every second, meaning he will completely refuel in just over 12 seconds. Boba has 2 dashes to his disposal. They have a cooldown of 1.1 second and can travel 6.25 meters. Finally, we have Boba's blaster stats. Boba's blaster is a semi-automatic burst rifle. It shoots 3 bolts each time you pull the trigger. Each hit deals from 35 to 25 damage. It deals 35 damage from 0 to 20 meters away, something in between from 20 to 40 meters away, and 25 damage from 40 meters and on. Just like any blaster in this game, headshots get a 1.9 times multiplier, meaning headshots deal between 66.5 and 47.5 damage. During a burst, decimals count, but afterwards everything gets rounded down, meaning a triple headshot up close will deal 199 damage. Boba's blaster is best suited for close to medium range, so don't go sniping across the map. Now it is time to go over Boba's abilities. And first up is his concussion rocket. When you activate this ability, Boba shoots a single missile. On impact, this missile has a 25 meter blast radius around it, in which anyone's vision will be blurred. This blur will remain for 5 seconds, during which lightsaber lock-on is disabled. On top of that, any blaster within its radius will be overheated for 1.2 seconds. This ability has a 15-second cooldown and is great for buying you some time against blaster wielding opponents. Outmatched. This next ability is probably Boba's best. This one is called For the Hunt. This ability removes Boba from the minimap, it reveals enemies to both him and his teammates, and it stops fuel consumption while flying, meaning he can fly without fuel cost for the entire duration of the mission. This ability has a duration of 8 seconds and a cooldown of 10 seconds, and is great for flanking and long distance flights. Finally, we have Rocket Barrage. Boba Fett shoots 5 rockets from his gun, each dealing 75 damage, meaning if you hit all 5 of those rockets, you deal 375 damage. This ability has a duration of 2.4 seconds and a cooldown of 20 seconds, and is basically just a quick burst of damage Boba can use to take out troopers or deal massive damage to heroes. Just like any hero besides Bosk, Boba has a health on kill, granting him 20 health on each trooper kill and 100 health on each hero kill. With all the basics out of the way, let's get to the good stuff. Star cards. As always, I will first give you my lazy setup. First is Born to Fly, Boba's best card, which should always be in your setup. After that we have Vocalize, because a bit more damage is always nice. And finally we have Acute Concussion. This final card is really nice in hero modes, as it can buy you a couple more seconds. But in trooper mode you're not gonna rely on your concussion rocket anyway. So for co-op and some maps of Supremacy, I recommend swapping to Augmented Gear. And for Galactic Assault, Extended Exposure can be really good as well. Finally, there are 3 star cards that I really need to talk about. All 3 of them seem really good, but end up pretty much being useless. Quick Refill and Fuel Efficiency both have such small percentages that they rarely matter in combat. And if you play the way I'm going to tell you in a little bit, you're not going to need the extra fuel anyway. But now I need to talk about Intense Barrage. At first this card seems really good. Oh hey, faster cooldown for Rocket Barrage. But if you read the description, you will notice you need to do 500 damage for this card to do anything. This 500 damage needs to be done in one Rocket Barrage. And need I remind you, one Rocket Barrage can only deal 375 damage to one opponent. Hitting one opponent with 5 rockets is already really difficult. Hitting 2 opponents for a total of 7 hits, or 6 with Vocalize, rarely happens. Meaning 99% of the time, this card is completely useless. Now that we have our setup, we can finally get to some real tactics. As I told you before, Boba's blaster shines at medium range, so when you're facing lightsaber heroes, you're constantly trying to force a medium range encounter. You want to stay away from lightsabers, while not going so far that you can't do any damage. To accomplish this, you can simply just stand on the ground on medium range and shoot at your opponent. If a lightsaber hero is trying to close the gap, you simply dash forward right as they try to attack. Fly straight forward, turn around in midair and land again. You have gained about 10 movements, and are in a mid-range encounter again. If you are up against inexperienced opponents, they will probably just try to close the gap again. In which case, you can just repeat the process until they're dead. If your opponent is a bit more experienced, they might catch on. In this case, you should spice things up. You can simply side dash, double dash, or straight up fly backwards while shooting, in order to remain unpredictable. If you combine everything, you get something a bit like this. But just like Palpatine, if you see a blaster hero, your playstyle has to change completely. However, unlike Palpatine, Boba Fett can take out enemy blaster heroes in seconds. A well-played Boba Fett is the #1 thing in this game to draw out enemy blaster heroes. So once they hit the field, sorry to say, but you should target them. Hunt them as if there is a huge bounty on them. Just like Palpatine, you can use your superior mobility to attack them from all different angles. When you turn, you know where you are going to go, but your opponent does not. So constantly change directions to hold an aiming advantage. Although my preferred way for taking out blaster heroes is a combo move I will cover in a little bit. And one final thing I should tell you about Boba's movements. Use your jetpack in bursts, with quite a bit of ground time in between. If you get in an intense fight, or need to fly long distance, activate for the hunt. This way you will almost never run out of fuel. Now it is time to go over some final tips and tricks. But because it's Boba we're talking about, we're still far from done. First, let's go over some heroes that you should watch out for. Anakin and Finn are your main concern. Anakin because he can pull you out of midair and knock you down again with heroic might for a lot of damage. However, dodging this or just staying out of his way aren't too difficult. On top of that, if you're full health and he catches you, you're probably not gonna die anyway. Just dash away and get back up into the air. Finn, however, is your arch nemesis. His aimbot means all your dodging is useless. If I spot a Finn, I usually just completely rush him and kill him as quick as I can. Drop everything and go after Finn, because if he gets the chance, he will kill you. As I just said, Boba has an issue with knockdowns in midair, but he actually has 2 counters. Boba is the only hero in the game that can perform dodges in midair, meaning he can dodge both abilities and attacks without having to stop flying. If you still get hit, Boba can perform a mid-air recovery, meaning you don't even have to hit the ground to get back up again. To perform this recovery, you simply press the dodge button while you're falling. However, there's one big downside. Since the last couple of updates, this recovery is really unreliable, meaning a lot of the time this recovery doesn't work at all, but it could still save your life, so always attempt to recover. With that out of the way, let's go over Boba's offensive tactics. Just like Palpatine, Boba has 3 ways of getting through block. Boba can drain their opponent's stamina by just shooting. This is very effective against Luke and Anakin, but doesn't work against Obi-Wan, as his stamina is just too great. Next is his rocket barrage. This ability can deal loads of damage through block, but the missiles are quite slow, so shooting them from long range makes them easy to avoid. So try to shoot from close range and aim for their feet, because it doesn't matter for the damage and the ground below them is a lot easier target. To accomplish this, I usually fly straight up as someone's targeting me and fire my rockets straight down. Boba's final way of getting through block is his melee attack. Boba's melee attack is quite special. Instead of a normal punch, Boba has a flamethrower. This flamethrower deals 100 damage, making it the strongest melee attack in the entire game. Just like Palpatine, you can use lightsaber dodge tactics to get in your opponent's back. But once you're behind your opponent, Boba actually has an extra trick. If you hit your opponent with the flamethrower from just inside its range, Boba will set a step forward. If you hit him with this attack, it will deal 200 damage, double. If you practice to hit this attack reliably, you will actually have a higher attack damage than any of the lightsaber heroes, meaning you can pretty much 3 or 4 hit kill any opponent. This move can be truly devastating to enemy blaster heroes, and it's a great way to finish off lightsaber heroes. Although I don't recommend spamming this against lightsaber heroes, because you will usually lose in a swing spam, just because of the fact that you can't block and have way less health. Now, as one final attack strategy, we can combine some of the stuff we've covered before to create one big combo attack. This attack deals massive damage and can usually take out the opponent from full health. You simply fly up to your opponent while shooting at him. Once you are above them, drop down while activating Rocket Barrage. Once you have done all that damage, you can finish them off with your flamethrower attacks. You can also hit the opponent with a concussion rocket right before you do this combo. This way your opponent will have a harder time spotting and dodging your attacks. So this is my go-to tactic if I spot an enemy blaster hero. Take them out in seconds. Finally, in HVV, Boba Fett can fill 2 roles. A quick high damage assassin role or a damage support role. The damage support role is pretty easy to get the hang of, so I highly recommend new players to stay close to teammates. However, just like Palpatine, it's your job to take out low health runners. The assassin role is a lot more difficult to get the hang of. You basically need to move all over the battlefield, seeking out fights. This means you will often end up in 2 or even 3v1s. But if you can manage, you can score loads of kills. A pro will constantly swap between these 2 roles. Learning when to play what role is basically just practice. So, just play Boba. He's fun to get the hang of, and really satisfying to master. If you thought this video was helpful, leave a like, and don't forget to subscribe. If you got a hero you want me to cover next, let me know in the comments down below. But with that said, that's it for today everybody. Thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.